Today on Covering Coronavirus, we're seeing some bank accounts finally getting some relief, and talk about how to prepare for any other emergency situations while still dealing with a pandemic.
And start doing that now, so when it's go time and there's another impending disaster, you're not caught off guard.
Some Americans received the first round of stimulus payments this week, but people waiting for a paper check won't be getting their money just yet. Those are expected to be mailed out next week. The IRS has a tool for anyone who doesn't have a direct deposit set up for their tax returns, and another online tool for people with low incomes who don't file taxes. You can find both of these resources at irs.gov/coronavirus, though people have reported a lot of issues on Wednesday, so you may have to keep checking back. We don't have any sports teams to cheer on right now, but we can all cheer for the Patriots truck that went to New York City on Tuesday to pick up more personal protection equipment for healthcare workers. The latest shipment is part of an original order for 1.7 million masks that the Patriots plane picked up from China a few weeks ago. Burning Man isn't going to be taking place in the real world this year, but the festival has plenty of tricks up its sleeve. The organization is attempting to move its massive annual whatever it is online and offer the same experience on your laptop. The web version of Burning Man Multiverse in 2020 will still be a ticketed event. And maybe they'll send members tiny little Burning Man replicas that they can set on fire in their own homes. We're all trying our best to get by during this pandemic, but emergency situations don't happen just one at a time. Chris Gloninger has some thoughts on handling simultaneous disasters like weather emergencies during this pandemic. We're dealing with a pandemic, but weather and other disasters don't stop just because we're in a pandemic. So talk about, how we can prepare for that.
This weekend, I think, was the first time that we've seen COVID-19, the pandemic, coincide with severe weather. We had an earthquake in Salt Lake City that caused some damage, but this was truly the first trial of two things happening at the same time. We had a massive tornado outbreak down across Dixie Alley in an area that doesn't have basements because of high water tables, and people had to rely on community shelters. And, you have to maintain social distancing while you're inside those shelters, and they did an effective job at doing just that. But we're also just around the corner from the start to hurricane season. Even though it's a busy forecast for a lot of activity, it doesn't matter if it was a busy season projected or a quiet season. It just takes one storm to kind of throw us that extra curveball. And we really need to get ready for hurricane season and all that goes along with it. So from coastal flooding to being without power for perhaps days or weeks at a time. And we just kind of got a sampling of that coming up on Monday with that high wind event that we just had. You need to make sure that, you have ways to keep things powered. Maybe it's time to invest in a portable charger for your cell phones. Make sure you have extra batteries. Make sure you have a non-perishable food. Start stocking up on that so you're not panicking when that time comes. Your evacuation routes from if you live along the coastline. If you live in a flood-prone area, make sure that you have stuff out of vulnerable locations in your house, maybe out of the basement. Put it in waterproof casing, for example. And start doing that now, so when it's go time and there's another impending disaster, you're not caught off guard.
The general rule, be prepared.
I've talked with, in several different occasions, tree trimmers, and they always say it's a lot cheaper to do regular maintenance than to call them up after an event when the tree's laying on your house. Maybe it's more than just cosmetic damage. Maybe there's actual, engineering or structural integrity questions in play. So just do that work now. Call them up, say, hey, can you look at the trees on my property? Make sure they're not going to crush my house or my car during a big event or hit the power lines. So now is the time to do that when the weather is quiet locally.
The sun's out, so do a little bit now. You'll thank yourself later. That's great.
Exactly. Great point.